Good evening. Welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. Nice, PG. Doing a little Broadway and a little detox at the same time. Hi, Ari. Hi, Derek. Yes, Jason, definitely. I think it's probably all connected. Upper back. So, are you talking about kind of in between the shoulder blades or underneath the shoulder blade? And the upper arm into the shoulder? Yeah, I bet it's all connected. You can try this. I know it's not normally when you feel sensation somewhere, that's not actually where um, the issue or the adjustment is originating in the body. So, right in the front of the shoulder, front of the chest, and kind of the outside of your pec muscle in your chest, the inside of your front deltoid, and then where your trapezius muscle in your neck comes down, there's a little pressure point there. So you can take like a tennis ball, put it down on your mat, and then just go ahead and find that spot, lay on the tennis ball, and then just kind of soften around it and see if that helps release. Everything's probably in just adjusting, so you'll feel these things for sure as your body's going through the practices. Leslie, good evening. Yeah, Jason, I would still go with that. Uh, Try with the tennis ball in the front there, and see if that feels any better and allows the tissue and the muscles in the shoulder girdle to release a little bit. Yes, exactly. I'm sure you know everybody that's quarantined with somebody. I'm sure you're getting daily massages, rubbing each other's feet, um, serving each other meals and with a flower on the side. You got a few minutes before practice if you're still getting set up. Have your yoga block. If you don't have a block, have a blanket, a pillow, a towel. Um, I think most of you have discovered and will continue to discover different ways that you can use these underneath your body. And so really no two practices should ever be alike. There's always going to be a different intersection point based on what you're doing. And so the moment is an intersection and connecting your senses, and connecting your experience, connecting your mind, and connecting your emotions, and what's moving through you in this moment. So, an intersection versus, kind of like stored memory, and where you're just gonna sit and continue to repeat and repeat and repeat. Always something different for sure. So 2 nights prior, somebody had mentioned when I was doing the detox in the garden, they said, I can't believe you're not getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So I was like, no, up to this point, hadn't had any mosquitoes. Last night, the moment we started detox, there was like a swarm of mosquitoes on me the entire time, on my arm, my head, my neck, my legs. So, it's not cold in Los Angeles right now. It's really beautiful. I got a big tree kind of behind you, which is behind the camera, and there's an owl that is there. I haven't seen the owl yet, but I can hear the owl, which is pretty awesome. And I feel like we're just becoming, more in touch with nature and just being outside. I'm in the backyard. We're in the middle of the city, so it's not like we're in some far remote or rural place. But it's pretty cool that we get to recognize and start to experience the patterns of nature. The owl, or the other birds that I see, the crows and whatnot. And it's like you're kind of becoming, connected with them through all of this, which is pretty awesome. All right, I'm going to start the playlist on the Earbuds Music app if you're following along there. If you're on Spotify or if you're listening to Broadway, you can start your playlist there. Whatever works for you tonight. Hi, Amy. All right, and then once your video and your music are set, you might want to place something in between your feet, and we're going to start sitting on your shins, so let your inner thighs take a turn down. And if it's really intense through the tops of your feet and the extension in your ankles, you can always slide some padding underneath the tops of your feet. And you mentioned this a few practices back, but those that have pretty flat feet, like you don't have a big arch, you might feel this in position a lot, but it's actually great because it'll help develop an arch. Not that it's going to change overnight, but with practice, our body does morph in different ways and changes its relationship inside of itself into all the parts. And so feel it out. Slide in those props if you need to. Hi, Biz. Good evening. And then you can just let your hands settle into your lap, shoulders over your hips. In awareness of a proud chest, but softening there, not forcing and drawing your belly in. But notice that your posture is proper, shoulders on top. You find the lightness in the stack of your spine so your head isn't falling forward, nor is it leaning back, nor is it tilting into one side or the other. Find the lightness. And you feel the stack in the spine, the sensations in your legs. And if you got a beautiful drishti point and set up, say you could dull your eyes on a candle that is burning in front of you, you can use that. If you don't have a candle and you'd like to envision a candle burning in front of you, then close your eyes down and let the eyelids soften, and then see that flame just above the bridge of your nose. And feel any angst, any tightness in your side bodies, in your belly. Jason, maybe you're even feeling the sensations underneath your shoulder blades. And sometimes there's a dull achiness in the body. That's some inflammation, but that's exciting because it's not debilitating, and it's showing you that your body is actually healing itself. We can go down a whole road of talking about inflammation, the body's natural response for anti-inflammatory, the increase of the core body temperature, all things that are helping you heal from the inside out, and simply with what you have versus in taking anything from the outside in. You can sit here and observe your breath. And you can sit here and observe your mind. And we can sit here in the oneness of this practice, and let's connect it and through each and every one of us. From our homes into your homes. And from my ears to your ears. And so we begin to separate ourselves less. When our gauge becomes the sound of our breath. I bet you the sound of your breath sounds very similar to the sound of my breath. I bet the feeling of the air coming into your body and going out of your body feels very similar. And whether you're in Los Angeles or you're in New York, or Italy, Colombia, Mexico, Australia, and I bet you it's pretty similar. You notice tonight where you've been tied to your differences. And let it be about the sameness of what life really is. Breath. And soften the chin towards your chest, and you can begin to open your eyes. You notice all the feelings in your legs, and then go ahead and spread your arms out wide into a T, palms turning up. And without moving the hips, slowly start to twist your torso to the left. And pause when you meet the resistance in your spine, any tightness in through your back. And hold here, let it squeeze, let it compress. And so your mind can digest in the pause. And then go ahead and start to bring yourself back through center. And turn your torso to the left. It's the range of motion, it's the structure of your spine. And feel the resistance in the back, let it stay here and squeeze. And then slowly untwist and come back to center. And take your hands down onto your thighs. And bow your chin in and then take a deeper breath. Fill your lungs. Open the mouth, exhale, release all the air from your body. And you can make your way off your shins. And crawl your way onto all fours facing the top of your mat. And take any props or blocks, set them aside. And you might do a little tap of the tops of the feet onto your mat. And feeling the release from the weight of your hips sitting on your heels. And then spread your fingers, tuck your toes. And go slow, make your way into a downward facing dog. A little counter stretch. And feel your shins. You can walk out your dog. Bend one knee, bend the other knee. And push into your hands, spread across your upper back, kind of like you're doing a cat pose in down dog. And then feel the shoulders settle back and down. And still walking out your dog, feel your hips. And feel your legs. Maybe a little rush with your head below your heart. And we're going to set up for a single-legged pigeon. And so we'll start on the left side. Bring your left knee to the outside of your left wrist. Lower your right knee down. If you're not feeling it in your outer left hip, slide your right knee back. And you flex your left ankle and pull that heel forward. Keep your hips square. And bring a pillow, blanket, or block underneath your chest. And keep softening around the observation of your breath. The sensations in your body come down onto your elbows. And then you want the pillow, the blanket, or the block and to come underneath your chest. And so you have a place to rest and to release. And so just find the height if you need to. You roll things up a little bit higher. And you should be feeling your outer left hip, but you don't want it to necessarily be pulling you out of the pose. And feel the balance where you can settle, you can release, and let your forehead come down towards the ground. And half pigeon on the left side. And we'll continue our practice here on a Sunday evening. And such a good place to be. And let the object under your chest really let you fall into the heaviness. And so your arms aren't holding up. And there's no tightness in your neck. And you've got your forehead settled down towards the ground. And let there be a relationship between what is touching your chest and for the opportunity to release all the way through into your back body underneath your shoulder blades. As you settle deeper into this posture, observe what your mind is doing. And so your meditation allows for an open relationship with your mind. An interpretation of this dance and that you're taking with stillness. And notice how you're feeling as you've removed many variables. You removed a lot of daily stress. You're meandering around, putting pressure on yourself. And so see what you're feeling, see what that emotional layer is allowing you to access tonight. And things you may just now be realizing about yourself. And because you were always wrapped up and too busy, just moving too fast and to see before. And let's keep the head as heavy as you can. You can even do this transition with your eyes closed. And we're going to make our way from single pigeon on the left side into a lunge on your right side. So start to make your way back up to your elbows. And then back to your palms. And you can just slide your hips back and then bring your left knee back behind so you're on all fours. And then bring your right foot forward, and so it's inside your right thumb. And so as I was explaining before the practice to Jason, this pressure point release, and so you're going to kind of take your right arm out, and you're going to find it. It's a muscle. You don't want the knee or the top of the knee connecting into the bones, but find, if you got to come forward a little bit, and find that point. So it's on the inside of your front deltoid. It's on the outside of your pectoral muscle in your chest. And it's like a little dimple where these three muscles meet. And so keep your hands framing your right foot, one on each side. If you need some padding underneath your left knee, you can always throw that underneath. And relax around your tailbone. And let your belly fall through your inner thigh so you're not gripping. In the last few nights we did a lot of openness or opening around our sacrum and our sacral space. And so just loosen the grip around your tailbone and use the weight of your upper body and start to settle here into this lunge. You might be asking yourself the question, what is our life really about? What's the point? Well, if that's the way your mind is thinking right now, that's incredible. Great question to ask. I mean, so many things in your past that may have been an excuse, or I don't have time to do that, or that's just not in the cards. I have these other responsibilities. Maybe all of that is starting to break itself up. I mean, what you see through this process is it's amazing. It may not mean that you change directions today or tomorrow, but what you're seeing through this process can be incredible, and to at least plant a seed. You might just look at that next excuse a little differently. And let your head fall even more. Even more. And check this out, you guys. Take a deeper breath in. And full sigh out as you start to wake your eyes back up. You move slowly, feel the sensations. And start to slide your hips back and bring your right knee and back onto the mat and tabletop. And so we're going to feel some of this prana and energy in our body. Step your left foot forward inside your left hand. And so you're back on that left foot. Keep it flat and tuck your right toes. Hands stay on the ground. And then draw your right knee off of your mat. And soft eyes gazing at the top edge of your mat. And continue to observe your breath. No need to activate the breath. And just feel this space in between your knees connect to your feet. And let a few breath cycles run through our bodies here. And take your awareness over to your left hip as you set your hands down, and then step back into a down dog. Hands down. And feel the space in your outer left hip into your hip crease. And from your inner thighs into your low back, all the way up into your spine to your shoulders. As long as your hands are firm, shoulders lifted, you can turn your chin a couple times side to side. If you've got objects, you can set them aside, and then we'll set up pigeon on the right leg. So right knee comes outside your right wrist. You lower your left knee down. And front shin is angled, but your hips remain square. And so the sensation is outside of your right hip and your piriformis. And bring the pillows, blankets, block back underneath your chest, and then start to make your way down onto your elbows. And you feel the solar plexus kind of right underneath your breastplate bone where your rib cage meets, and then the top of your stomach. You let this flow into the softness underneath your shoulder blades. And then little by little let your forehead come all the way down towards the mat. And welcome to your single pigeon. And set up in the stillness. And it's so amazing to expand the space here. And relax the jaw, the cheeks, and your ears. And let these sounds and vibrations move with you. Don't be surprised if your dominant side is your right side and you're a little bit tighter here. Keep your head as heavy as you can. As you start to lift your way back up onto your elbows. And then back up to your palms. And slowly, and keep your eyes closed. Slide your hips back and bring your right knee back into a tabletop. Your right knee keeps sliding back. Step your left foot inside your left hand. And let's get the front of your left shoulder and your chest set first. Okay, onto the top of the kneecap. And find that pressure point. And you can always pat underneath your right knee. And use your right arm as a kickstand to balance, and then let your head and the weight of your torso come down and chin to your chest. It's cool. Feelings are cool. Thoughts are cool. Stillness is cool. The process is cool. Our practice is cool. And practicing with other people is cool. And let your mind continue on that cool train wherever it goes. And acknowledge all the things that are cool in your life right now. And if you don't want to do it, just sit here in the stillness. Close the eyes. And notice what allows you to not only identify balance, but to actually operate from balance is when you honestly trust that other people are in this with you, and that you're not alone, that we're actually all in together. And so if your mind is still separating you from the crowd, if you're still kind of beating around the bush and things that you know you should confront, you know you should face, well, this could be a safe place and to do that, confront that shit. Most of it is external influence that wasn't yours to begin with. And if you think everything has come up that you need to confront, okay, then you're mistaken, because evolution means in that there's probably going to be something else. And we're not static, we're not fixed. Not even the nature we're sitting in is static and fixed. But it's a practice, it's not work. And so our practice is ever changing and always evolving and reminding us in our minds that life is a journey. You can do it slowly. Pay attention to all the sensations as you start to bring the head back up and the hips back. And then slide your left foot back and come into a tabletop. And you should feel that release around your shoulders and your neck. And the nice easy switch. Right foot comes forward once again. But this time foot flat. And hands stay down, gaze is low, curl your back toes, and then lift off of your back knee. And kind of like you're a runner in the starting blocks, but your left leg is straight, and your eyes are softening at the top edge of your mat. And observe a few breaths here. And you'll feel that flow fill up your body. Bring your hands down flat and slide your right foot back. And make your way into a downward facing dog. Feel your hips and feel your legs. And support with your hands, little to no grip in your shoulders or in your back. And let your tailbone lift. Any objects in front of you, set them aside. And then bring your body forward out into a high plank. You're welcome to stay here. If you can take a really light and slow flow, you're welcome to bend your arms, lower halfway down. And place the tops of your feet on the ground. And then tops of your feet press, point your toes. Up dog your heart. And then look down, press through the tops of your feet. And lift your hips back up and come into a downward facing dog. We did all that, you guys, to get the child's pose. A really long child's pose tonight, so come down onto your knees. If you have grips, your hip flexors are really tight, and take a towel or a blanket, roll it up a little bit, and then place it across your waistband like you're putting on a belt. You put that in place first. It's going to help soften your hip creases and start high where your bum is low. And set first, and then start to bring your hands out in front. And without compromising the hips. And let your hands slide away, your elbows can point out. And if you're still getting that towel set in your hip creases, it ought to feel pretty good for pretty much everybody. So if you have the towel or the blanket, put it there across your waistband. You might need something underneath your head because the hips are heavy. Otherwise, bring your head and your forehead all the way down onto the ground. And balance right here. It should take no strength at all. And to balance and open up. And to be right here in this child's pose. And observing your breath freely in the free world. And of course, I'm not going to tell you how long, but if you've never done a child's pose, and for as long as we're going to do it tonight, then it's pretty awesome that you're doing something for the first time, something you've never done before. Remember, the moment is an intersection, so if you're thinking, well, heck, I've done child's pose thousands of times, The moment is the intersection where the variables in the environment has changed. The conditions are different right here than they've ever been before. You notice if in just a relatively short amount of time, if you're getting antsy, as I was mentioning yesterday, where you want to change your geographic location, what if tonight you realize you just went a whole nother layer into the depth of your grounding, into the truth of your being, into the awareness of yourself. You made it through, okay, a test by not changing your geographic. Even once you have this practice and the framework of this practice, a life is going to present test after test after test, and to see which way you're going to go. And this isn't like the stress of taking a test. These are opportunities, beautiful opportunities, and to deepen the relationship and to wake up and to reaffirm. And when you reaffirm, you become more confident in your approach. You control everything outside of you far less. And then eventually you stop in controlling anything inside of you, other than your breath when you're in a vinyasa class. That's it. There's your opportunity to control something. Outside of that, there's no control. if anybody fell asleep in this pose. Draw your mind back if you were drifting. You could do it with your eyes closed. And start to bring your way back up into a tabletop. And then left knee over to your right knee, roll down onto your left hip. And keep your head in this direction, roll over and lie onto your back, please. And release to your back. And let those kinks in the hose go from your hips. And obviously, if you had that rolled up blanket or towel, and you let that go. And rest in the back of your skull. Feel every muscle of your front body release. And tingling in your toes, tingling in your fingers. A life in vibration. Vibrational resource, everybody. It's not just intellect. And getting more smarts and more wit and about what you can do and what you can gain and how you're going to get to the top and all that shit. Vibrational existence and falling into this pattern of practice. Notice everything and that is with you night after night, morning after morning. And this beautiful process of awakening. And when the stress appears, when the heaviness shows up, when the emotions might not be what you expected to feel, you know that's all part of breaking it down. And so that you can let go of the past. You can stop stressing about the future. And you can live under this beautiful light. These waves of light and sound and stars and sun and moon, all of that stuff. And feel your relationship with everyone everywhere right now. And let's go ahead and bend your legs in so that your feet are on the mat. And then easy twist, let both knees fall down towards the left. And keep your shoulders flat. And hands can rest down onto your belly, onto your ribs. Easy twist. And if you're craving a little bit more, outside of your left ankle into the outside of your right thigh. And rest here. And once you get it, you always got it. Nobody can take it away from you. And because it's not something that you own, it's not something that you're holding on to and trying to keep in a cage. It's an awareness and that flows with you into every moment and as you intersect and relate with it. So once you got it, it's always there. I mean, honestly, everyone, if you really sit in this moment right now, and we have never felt what we are feeling. I've never seen this moment before. If I open my eyes and even relate into the environment around me, we've never seen it. We've never felt it. And keep your body here, everybody. Raise your hands up towards the sky, towards your ceiling. A gentle fists. And close your eyes like you're giving a double fist bump into the vibrational existence. And feel your low back and your hips slowly start to bring in your hips back square onto the mat. You uncross your left ankle if you had it crossed. And then let both knees come down to the right for the counter twist. And you can bring your hands back down to rest on your belly. If your shoulders stay square and you want to add a little bit outside of your right ankle and to the outside of your left thigh, add a little weight. Feel what you're feeling this time. Keep your hands on your belly. And go easy as you start to roll your hips. And if you got your right ankle crossed, and bring your foot back down onto the ground. You lay the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall apart. If you need a little adjustment, and to square up your hips and rest into your low back. And lift your tail, flatten your low back. In supine Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly pose. And take your right hand onto your belly. And lay your left hand on the upper part of your chest. Observe the inhale, lift your right palm. And the exhale, soften underneath your left palm. And see if your mind is pleasantly surprised and that you actually let something go. It feels like somebody let something go that they've been holding on to for a very long time tonight. And as badly as I may want to see all of you and be in that hot room together, this practice has reminded us in that we are right where we're supposed to be. If you can find it in your heart and to truly believe that, the expansion of the space and the reconciliation of stress, it'll all turn into a beautiful moment of peace and gratitude and love. Feeling of honor and doing your part. You don't have to figure it all out right now. And just do your part. And you're welcome to slide out into a Shavasana with your legs straight. And make any adjustments if you need to. Cover the eyes, close the eyes, take a sigh. And celebrate if you are the one or the many that let something go tonight. You remember when you get it, it's always with you. It'll never go away, and you don't have to try to hold on to it. It's always with you. I want to thank you all so much and for starting your week in this way. And from this morning into this evening, a beautiful start to this week, and positivity and hope. And look forward to seeing you all in the morning for our flow practice. Share it, spread it. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your evening tonight. And let me know if you need anything. Sleep well. And I'll see you soon. Namaste.